You're finally awake.
As much Skyrim as I've played, I've never done a weapons restricted run. That being said, today I wanted to find out, can you beat Skyrim with only a longbow? The restrictions for this run are, I can only use a longbow and iron arrows to deal damage, I cannot put any points into any skills except for archery, and I am doing it at an expert difficulty. With all that being said, let's begin. To start the run off today, I'm going to be choosing the Wood Elf for his plus 10 to archery, and after designing the character and giving him a fitting name, we officially start the run. After almost getting my head cut off by the Imperials, I'm saved by a dragon. I then run past everyone where I make my way into Helgen's Keep with Hadvar. Hadvar then gets a little bit too close when taking my bindings off. Back up, sir, you are not Rayloff. I then watch as Hadvar takes his sweet time to kill 2 Stormcloak soldiers. I then finally get my weapon of choice for this run, but before I can put it to use, all the Stormcloak soldiers are wiped out. I then wipe out the local spider population and try to sneak up to a bear and give it a tickle. Well, that plan didn't end well. On the way to Riverwood, I encountered 2 wolves. Now that I'm editing this, I'm not really sure why I put this in there, but I did. Once I get to Riverwood, I sell all my stuff to Lucan, and if you've ever played Skyrim, then you probably know where I'm going next. That's right, Feodal. I immediately take him as a follower and put his training skill to good use. This shouldn't really be a surprise as I'm doing an archery build, and really, what else is he good for? After that, I head to Whiterun the fastest way possible. The only reason that I'm going there now is just to get a fast travel point, as I intend to skip most of the Jarl's talking as I can. Once there, I check to see if Belethor is bugged in this playthrough. Surprisingly, he's not. After that, I make my way to Bleak Falls Barrow. I decide to take out some bandits along the way for some easy levels and to see how much damage I do with the longbow. They never really stood a chance. Speaking about not even really standing a chance, neither does the Draugr Overlord, with me and Feandal both equipped with longbows, and me with a pretty high archery skill by this point, we make quick work of him. Honestly, it was never really my intention to bring Feandal into this dungeon, but I kinda just forgot he was there. And by the time that I realized that I took him into this dungeon, I already read the Elder Scroll and was preparing for the Alduin fight, so I really didn't want to restart the whole run over. Back in Whiterun, I hand over the Dragonstone to Farengar and prepare to fight my first dragon. I then meet up with Erleth outside the tower and I'm ready to fight the dragon. I wasn't really worried going into this fight, as the guards usually do most of the damage anyway. This is probably the easiest dragon fight that I will do all game. As I'm normally used to playing this game on Legendary, this fight was a piece of cake. Really, I just kind of shot arrows at him when he landed, and when he flew off, I just waited for him to land again. I managed to land the final shot on him, and with that puts the official counter to Dragons 0, me 1. I stare his corpse in the eye as I take his soul. Not really sure why I did this, but hey, use the footage you got. Turn to Jarl Balgruuf for a quick chat where he tells me I need to go to High Hrothgar. So that being the case, it's off to Ivarstead. There's nothing really to mention here, as it's just another boring walk to Ivarstead. Once I arrive at Ivarstead, I take Klimik's package. God, why did I write that? I even put a little smiley face next to it in my notes. What am I doing? Anyways, after that, I start my way up the steps. There's not really anything to note up until this point, except for a few ice wolves, and then I get to the troll. Anyways, the troll fight this time around wasn't really that bad. I used a little bit of Bethesda magic, so he wasn't able to hit me, and I just kind of cheesed him. And with a spine shot double tap, I make sure he doesn't get back up. Serves him right. Anyways, once I reach High Hrothgar, I put Klimik's package in the Greybeards box. Why did I write another smiley face behind that? Anyways, I then have a quick chit chat with the Greybeards. They teach me how to shout, which I will never use, and then they teach me how to channel my inner sonic super speed and be able to pass through a gate. I'm sure this won't be necessary for a dungeon that I'm going to have to go to in a few minutes. They then tell me to go retrieve the whistle of someone's something pants and bring it back to them. After a long walk, I arrive at my destination and enter. Or at least I would have if I didn't get jumped by a group of bandits on the way in. Unfortunately for them, like John Wick with the pencil, I'm extremely skilled when using a stick. And another stick. with a rope on it. Man, I really need to do a better job at writing scripts. And for the first time in a long time, I think Skyrim has genuinely been able to scare me. The spider just came up out of nowhere, and to put you in the scene, it was about 10 p.m. when I was recording this and completely black in my room. After that, I found out that Delphine had put her grubby little hands all over the old man's whistle and left me a note to come meet her in Riverwood. It's clear that Delphine never watched Dora, because if she did, then she would know the rule about swipe or no swiping. I then meet Delphine in her secret underground lair in Riverwood, and she tells me basically she doesn't think I'm Dragonborn, something, Thalmor. I need to go kill another dragon, so that's where I'm headed to. Now, normally this fight isn't very hard, but there's a glitch where sometimes Delphine doesn't decide to show up. And going into this, I was pretty confident, but then that glitch happened, as you'll see in a second. So I make my way to the second dragon's grave. It gets out. Delphine's nowhere to be found, and then I get used as an oversized chew. Then I get used as a chew toy by the oversized sky doggy. So the second go around, Delphine actually decides to show up this time, and considering it just being the two of us, we actually make pretty quick work of it. I didn't think this fight was going to be that hard if she actually showed up, but I also didn't think that she would just, go get her nails done or something while I was trying to fight it the first time. Anyways, for those of you keeping score at home, that makes me 2 dragons, Gil 0. Now, because of my time playing on Legend difficulty in this game, I don't like this quest for a number of reasons, but doing it this time, it actually wasn't that bad. Anyways, it's off to Solitude to watch an execution, and murder makes me thirsty, so I go into the inn to get a drink. After giving Malborn all my valuables and becoming one with nature, so to speak, I then head outside to the cart waiting on me, along with Delphine. Once outside, Delphine gives me some clothes so I'm not naked anymore, but guess what? I've got to talk to her again before I can leave. She sure does like to talk. Anyways, I board the carriage and I'm on my way to the party. 2 cutscenes later, I'm inside the party giving a drunk alcohol so he can cause a disturbance while I sneak off to go steal classified government documents from the Thalmor. Oh, and slaughter every Thalmor in the entire building. My plan was originally to sneak around the Thalmor, but seeing as I haven't put points into anything but archery sticking to the run, they found me out as soon as I opened the door, and it was instantly fight to the death. Like I said earlier though, the Thalmor in here on expert difficulty are basically just squishy pincushions who barely do any damage, especially at the level I was going into this. But my archery skill so high, it didn't even take that many shots to kill them, but I did indeed kill every single one of them in the building. For some reason on this playthrough, I was dead set on keeping Malborn alive, so that's what I did. It took a few tries, but I got him out of here alive somehow. I don't even know. I even got him past the frost troll at the end, and for a guy who didn't end up troll food, he's not very happy for some reason. Anyways, it's back to Delphine and Riverwood for guess what? We're talking. This time she tells me I gotta go find an old man in a sewer and bring him back here. So for now, it's off to Riften I go to get him. Once in Riften, I go to Brynjolf to try to persuade him to tell me where he's at. But guess what? I failed the speech check, so I have to then go steal. I thought while I was at it, I might as well steal from everybody in the market, so that's what I did. Although, while editing this video, I found out that I never once used any of that loot that I got from any of those stalls. Oh well. Down in the Ratways, it was a slaughterhouse. None of them really stood a chance. The only one that even got close to doing any real damage, or even hitting me at all, was the man who has the gloves of the Polgast, but even then, he didn't even manage to scrape my health bar. Once I was in the cistern, I just ran past everybody and went to the door where I knew it was already going to be, because it's about the 600th time I've done this. So the Thalmor on the way to Esbern don't really pose that much of a threat. They do slightly better than the ones guarding the embassy, but really, they don't stand a chance of killing me. After slaughtering my way through the Thalmor, I make my way to Esbern, who talks more than Delphine. Lucky me. Anyways, I take him back to Delphine and Riverwood, where they then tell me that we need to go to Skyhaven Temple. Well, let's go, I suppose. The Forsworn outside Skyhaven Temple don't really do anything in ways to hurt me. As a matter of fact, they kind of help me take out the dragon that's out there. Anyways, I slaughter them. And for those still keeping track, that makes Dragon 0, me 3. Anyways, once we get inside to the face door with a face, I don't know. I hashtag give blood and gain a century to it. Surprisingly, Delphine doesn't bug out and manages to light all of the podiums this time, thankfully. Although she does it with an invisible torch, I'll still take it. Then it's time to listen to more talking out of Delphine and Esbern. But on the bright side, I can take the Blade's weapon to sell and keep the armor for myself. You know, all this talk about Wesley Snipes that Delphine's doing, and I've still yet to see him. Anyways, they talk about the wall some more, and then they finally let me go, and I go start the Throat of the World quest. Unfortunately, the footage that I had where I did the Throat of the World quest got corrupted, so I have nothing to show for that. So we're just going to skip straight to when I went to get the Elder Scroll. So I go into this ice cave to talk to this crazy old man who gives me a cube and a sphere that's supposed to give me an Elder Scroll somehow. Just kidding, I know exactly how. Anyways, I take them from him and head straight to my destination. So I enter the cave where the Elder Scroll is supposed to be, and quickly I come into contact with one of the hardest things I have had to fight in this entire run, and that would be Jadar. Who would have thought that a Kaiji up on liquid video game cocaine, would be one of the hardest enemies I'd fight all run. And if you can't tell by the immediate save after I kill him, this took a while. Anyways, I continue through the dungeon until I reach Blackreach. Once I get in there, I pretty much just channel my inner Sonic again and make a mad dash for the door because I don't want to fight anything that's in there. I tried and I died multiple times. After I made my mad dash through Blackreach, I reached the puzzle room where it takes me a minute to remember the combination to the puzzle, but eventually I get it. Then I acquire the scroll, and before I do the Alduin fight, I do some final preparations. The first one up is to craft arrows, so I go to Riverwood and craft a few hundred. And then the second part of preparation I wanted to do was go to Ayla the Huntress so she could train me to be better at archery so I could get the faster draw rate. With all those preparations done, I flashbang myself, travel back in time, and we start the Alduin fight. Going into this fight, I had pretty high hopes that it would be easy, and surprise, surprise, I overprepared. This was honestly the easiest I think I've ever done this. All I did was shout the spell, get him to land, shoot him while he was landed, and then when he flew back up, I would heal myself and repeat the process over and over again. All in all, it only took probably 10 minutes to defeat him. It took barely any time at all, especially with Parthenax there to help. It was a cakewalk. For those of you still paying attention at home, that is me 4, Dragons 0. Unless you count me getting used as a chew toy, then it's me 4, Dragons 1. Then it's time for my own personal Hell Peace Council. And honestly, I don't think I need to say anything about that. Fast forward and we're at Whiterun. And I think I downloaded the wrong How to Train Your Dragon movie because they're training this one in BDSM. Anyways, we capture him and we let him go. In return, he takes me up where apparently I can't walk by myself. Alright, so agreeing not to murder him, he agrees not to murder me, and I let him go, and eventually he takes me to Skuldafn. When I finally make it to Skuldafn, I just run and heal past all the Draugr outside and the dragons, because I really don't want to feel like stopping and fighting them. But once I make it inside, the Draugr inside don't really pose a threat because they don't have the dragons to back them up. Back outside Skuldafn, I spank Nokrin like he owes me money. I then take the staff. Once inside Sovngarde, I fight the hardest battle I've ever fought in this run so far. And no, it's not Alduin, it's Sun. That man is a maniac with the axe. He killed me countless times, but eventually, with some Bethesda magic, I got the leg up on him and ended the fight. So after talking to the people who sent Alduin forward in time, great job, by the way, we came out and started fighting him. Now, honestly, I thought this was going to be a little bit harder, but with those 3 there and me in the back just filling him full of arrows, it was pretty easy, honestly. So I filled Alduin like a pin cushion, and when I was good and ready, I sent the last shot, putting him down permanently. Maybe. I don't think anybody really knows. Anyways, after Alduin's defeated, I asked to get sent back to Skyrim. Once I return to the land of the living, this run is officially over. Well, is it possible to beat Skyrim with only a longbow on expert difficulty? Yes. Yes, it is. Did I beat Skyrim with only a longbow on expert difficulty? That's a bit of a trick question. Yes and no. I want to say it's a fail because Fandal. Also, I mean, I did beat the game with only a longbow. But regardless, that's the end of this video. If you liked, please subscribe and leave a like, a comment, and let me know what you want to see next. The overall time for this run was 7 hours and 43 minutes, and it was beat on expert difficulty.